Yinyuan secretly visited the prison, his heart aching at the sight of Yandan. She was pale and exhausted, dozing against the cold iron bars. He longed to reach out, to gently touch her face, but just as his hand neared, her eyes fluttered open. Startled, he pulled back, silently vowing to himself that he would protect her, no matter the cost. Not long after Yinyuan's departure, Yumo arrived at the heavenly prison. He was determined to break her out, but Yandan refused. She insisted on staying to prove her innocence. But to get Yumo to leave, she spun a lie. She told him that Yinyuan had already agreed to let her go to the mortal realm. She asked him to go ahead and wait for her there. Yumo, though still worried,
reluctantly agreed.
He made a promise. He would wait for her at the heavenly execution platform in 3 days. They made a pact to descend to the mortal world together. Before he left, he magically conjured a bowl of fried rice with eggs for her. As she ate, a warm smile spread across her face. She was so incredibly lucky to have a friend like him. 3 days passed, in a flash. Yinyuan personally escorted Yandan from the prison to the heavenly
Execution platform.
In a surprising move, he even untied her restraints. Yingdang, who had followed them, protested loudly, convinced Yandan would use this chance to escape. Yinyuan, his patience worn thin, sharply forbade Yingdang from following them any further. Defeated, Yingdang could only watch them go. As they walked, Yandan pleaded with Yinyuan, repeatedly insisting she hadn't poisoned anyone, begging him to believe her. Yinyuan's mind flashed back to Yingdang's threat if he showed any favoritism. She would expose their feelings and accept punishment alongside him. Trapped, he couldn't reveal the truth. All he could say was that he would handle the matter according to heavenly law. Yandan's heart sank. She remembered the promises they made in that small thatched hut, and a wave of utter disappointment washed over her. Yinyuan led her to the bridge of no return. Standing on the precipice, Yandan finally confessed her greatest crime. She had violated the heavenly rules by falling in love with him. She challenged him, asking him to kill her with his own hands. Her defiant words shocked the heavenly soldiers who drew their swords, but Yinyuan swiftly stopped them. Yandan didn't let up. She kept pushing, pressing him, desperate for him to admit his true feelings. But Yinyuan remained stoic, claiming his heart was for all living beings, devoid of any personal desires.
That was the final blow.
Completely heartbroken, Yandan turned and leaped from the bridge of no return. Without a second's hesitation, Yinyuan jumped in after her. Down in the fiery abyss, Yandan was engulfed in flames. Yinyuan used his own body as a shield to protect her, and both were severely injured by the brutal torment. When the emperor learned that Yinyuan had followed Yandan off the bridge, he was furious. He personally erected a powerful barrier over the chasm, forbidding anyone else from crossing. Just then, Yumo and Luming arrived at the heavenly execution platform, only to find Zishi weeping uncontrollably. They learned the horrifying truth. Yandan and Yinyuan had both jumped. Luming knew the consequences. At best, they would lose their immortal spirits. At worst, they would be utterly annihilated. Desperate, Yumo tried to jump down to save them, but was thrown back by the Emperor's barrier. Suddenly, the lotus flower mark on his wrist pulsed with energy. A surge of relief washed over him. Yandan was still alive. He was overjoyed, vowing to find her, no matter where she was. Yandan awoke in a daze, finding herself in a strange, desolate presa. Yinyuan was there. He had saved her. Confused, she listened as he explained the painful truth. Her adamant refusal to admit her feelings was all to protect her sister, Zishi. A mix of surprise and joy filled her heart. He hadn't forgotten their promise after all. But then, why did he say such cruel things on the bridge? Yinyuan then revealed more bad news. Her immortal spirit was shattered. She could never return to the heavenly realm. This was the only place he could send her. The flicker of hope she just felt was extinguished once more. In a last, desperate attempt, she summoned the Xiaomeng butterfly, a symbol of their love, hoping to remind him. but Yinyuan destroyed it with a single wave of his hand, coldly advising her to let go of her feelings and face reality. Just then, a figure emerged from the mists. It was Yi Zhang, a night messenger
from the River of Oblivion.
He was here to guide Yandan across the river. To move on, she had to erase all her past memories before she could enter the cycle of reincarnation and be born as a mortal.
Yi Zhang handed her a netherworld fire lamp, which held all of her past memories.
If the lamp's flame went out after she crossed the river, it would mean she had successfully forgotten everything.
Yandan took the lamp, her gaze fixed on Yinyuan, forcing him to watch as she prepared to forget him forever.
Yinyuan, wanting to make her break complete, used an illusion to make it seem like he destroyed the butterfly for good, hoping it would help her let go.
With a look of grim determination, Yandan stepped onto the path into the River of Oblivion.
Yi Zhang urged Yinyuan to leave, warning him that the river's aura would harm his immortal body. With a final, sorrowful look, Yinyuan departed.
He returned to the heavenly palace to report to the emperor, who reprimanded him severely and ordered him into seclusion to reflect on his actions. But Marshal Woad arrived with the Book of Pardon, a decree for punishment. Yinyuan willingly accepted it. The emperor tried to persuade him to reconsider, but Yinyuan's mind was made up. The emperor had no choice but to carry out the punishment himself, subjecting Yinyuan to excruciating torture. Yingdang rushed in, begging for mercy, and Marshal Woad also pleaded on Yinyuan's behalf, but the emperor was unmoved. In her desperation, Yingdang begged the emperor to erase Yinyuan's memories of Yandan. Seeing no other way to resolve his nephew's anguish, the emperor reluctantly agreed. Meanwhile, holding the netherworld fire lamp, Yandan walked deeper into the River of Oblivion. Images of her and Yinyuan, their happiest moments, flooded her mind, and with every step, she forced herself to let them go. In his solitary confinement, Yinyuan felt a presence.
He thought he saw Yandan standing before him.
He reached out to touch her, but she vanished into thin air.
With grim resolve, Yinyuan made a choice.
He locked away his memories of Yandan deep within his own immortal spirit, vowing to dedicate himself fully to his duty, to abandon all personal feelings, and to maintain peace in the three realms. Seeing his unshakable will, carrying the netherworld lantern, Yandan walked into the cold, dark night river of oblivion. Unable to forget her past, she had no choice but to return to find Yi Zhang. A night guard for many years had seen people forget their past completely in as little as 7 days. He advised Yandan to find an inn to rest first and continue the next day. Yinyuan was already badly injured by the cruel punishment of love, and his subsequent leap off the bridge of nothingness to save Yandan only worsened his condition. His immortal spirit dissipated, leaving him on the verge of death. His celestial attendants were frantic with worry, yet dared not seek medical help from the heavenly physician. Fearing that news of Yinyuan's suffering would spread and cause trouble, the emperor himself came to visit Yinyuan, channeling his immortal power into him and instructing the attendants to take good care of him. He explained that Yinyuan had just suffered from extreme cold and must not be exposed to any trace of fire or other stimuli, or he would fall into a century-long slumber or perish from the shattering of his spirit. Yinyuan finally awoke and discovered that the celestial attendants had thrown the primordial jade belt, repaired by Yandan, along with his clothes, into the burning Yuan furnace of the Qianyuan Palace. Without a word, he rushed into the furnace. The celestial attendants were frantic, as the fire in the burning Yuan furnace could not be extinguished. They could only wait anxiously, braving the raging flames. Yinyuan finally found the primordial jade belt. He retrieved it from the scorching fire and tied it around his waist. The celestial attendants discovered that Yinyuan's immortal spirit had dissipated. Yinyuan knew that the worst outcome was the shattering of his spirit and his death. He decided to resign from his position as emperor and leave the Yangsu heavenly palace. The celestial attendant's earnest persuasion was to no avail. Yinyuan arrives at Godan residence to atone for his sins and protect his unforgettable love with Yandan. Yumo sees the lights on at Godan residence and guesses Yinyuan is there. He wants to rush in and settle scores, but Lu Ming desperately stops him, repeatedly explaining that Yinyuan cares deeply for Yandan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have sought the Book of Immunity from Marshal Huda, nor would he have jumped off the bridge of no return to save her. Yumo doesn't believe him, convinced that Yinyuan has betrayed Yandan, and even forces her to jump off the bridge of no return. Lu Ming finds the lotus seed Yinyuan planted for Yandan in the pond and advises Yumo not to act impulsively, emphasizing that the most important thing right now is to descend to the mortal realm to find Yandan. Yumo is slightly relieved and immediately searches for a way to break the barrier. Jixi carefully sorted through the belongings Yandan had left behind. She realized that almost everything was prepared for her. Seeing these items, memories of Yandan's sacrifices flooded her mind, and a wave of deep guilt washed over her. She hurried to the temple to pray for Yandan's well-being. But just then, Yingdong appeared. Seeing Jixi, she couldn't help but mock her, sneering at her apparent hypocrisy and showering her with harsh words.
Yingdang then spotted a porcelain bottle nearby, filled with the divine power Yandan had left.
With a cruel laugh, she smashed it to pieces before storming off, overwhelmed with grief and rage. Jixi looked at the shattered remains and swore to herself that she would make Yingdang pay for everything she had done to Yandan. Desperate to know Yandan's fate, Gigzi started bribing the Celestial Register official, asking him to check the list of souls crossing the Night River of Oblivion every single day. Unbeknownst to her, Yinyuan was doing the exact same thing, consumed by the same desperate hope. When Yingdang found out about their daily inquiries, a malicious plan formed in her mind. She ordered the official to forge a fake register, one with Yandan's name clearly written on it, to make both Jixi and Yinyuan finally give up and accept that Yandan was gone for good.
Meanwhile, Yinyuan was in the Godon residence, trying to distract himself by handling the endless affairs of the heavenly realm. Jixi came to visit,
her expression grave. She told him that Yandan had crossed the Night River of Oblivion and descended to the mortal realm. Yinyuan refused to believe it. He had been holding on to a sliver of hope, and this news threatened to shatter it. To prove her words, Gixi took out the forged register. Seeing Yandan's name on the list of those who had crossed the river, Yinyuan es composia cramber do. He tried his best to hide the turmoil in his heart, but his tightly clenched fists betrayed him. Jixi, seeing his pain, gently advised him to stop worrying and take care of his own health. But Yinyuan was in no mood for comfort. He became impatient and curtly dismissed her, needing to be alone with his grief. At the same time, Yumo was frantically searching for a way to get to the mortal realm. He tried everything he could think of, but all his efforts were in vain. The heavenly realm's barriers were impenetrable. He even attempted to leave through the 4 heavenly gates, but the celestial soldiers guarding them demanded to see his imperial credentials, which he didn't have. He was forced to retreat, his frustration growing with each failed attempt. Just when he was about to lose hope, he stumbled upon an ancient text called the 9-Fin Scripture. As he read it, he discovered a shocking secret. The horns of a 9-finned dragon were indestructible and possessed the power to cut through any barrier. A dangerous idea began to form in his mind. Just then, Chao Lan arrived with some food for him.
To her horror, she saw Yumo risk everything,
using his own power to sever one of his dragon horns. The backlash was immediate and catastrophic. His immortal power began to dissipate rapidly.
Chao Lan snatched the scripture and read the terrible truth. For a 9-finned dragon, losing a horn was a death sentence.
Weakly, Yumo begged her to take the horn and use it to open the barrier. He had to get to the mortal realm and save Yandan, no matter the cost. But Chao Lan refused, tears streaming down her face. She insisted she would find a way to save him. She would restore his spiritual power, whatever it took. Desperate, Chao Lan sought help from Lu Ming. He listened to her frantic explanation and revealed a sliver of hope. The only thing that could save Yumo was the Emperor's legendary 9-turn rejuvenation pill. Lu Ming, ever the loyal friend, immediately planned to steal the pill that very night. But Chao Lan stopped him, proposing a better, albeit more heartbreaking, plan.
Soon after, the emperor decreed a marriage between Xuan of the East Sea Dragon Clan and Princess Chaolan. A grand banquet was held at Yushi to celebrate the union.
The Dragon King of the East Sea himself came to the heavenly realm to escort the couple back for their wedding. During the banquet, with everyone watching, Chaolan made a bold request. As a wedding gift, she asked for the Emperor's 9-turn rejuvenation pill. Delighted by the auspicious union, the Emperor readily agreed and presented the priceless pill to her on the spot. Elsewhere, Yinyuan found himself at the temple, watching as heavenly soldiers and generals worked to repair a giant pillar that had been damaged during the war between immortals and demons. They marveled at how the pillar had withstood the brunt of the attack, speculating which powerful immortal had secretly protected it. As Yinyuan got closer, he detected a faint but familiar power of lotus flowers emanating from within the pillar. He instantly knew it was Yandan. The heavenly generals wanted to formally recommend Yandan for her heroic deed, but Yinyuan knew she cared little for such honors. He simply instructed them to record that a nameless hero had protected the temple's pillar. As he turned to leave, he silently prayed for Yandan's safety, hoping she was well, wherever she was. Chaolan rushed the 9-turn rejuvenation pill to Lu Ming. Seeing the pill in her hand, Lu Ming understood the price she had paid. He knew she had been forced to marry Juan, a man she did not love, all for Mo's sake. His heart ached for her sacrifice, but Chaolan had no regrets. She was willing to do anything for Mo. Her plan was to leave the heavenly realm immediately with her father and Juan. Lu Ming pleaded with her to wait until Mo woke up so she could see him one last time. But Chaolan was afraid. She knew that if she saw him, she might not have the strength to leave. With tears in her eyes, she departed.
After taking the 9-turn rejuvenation pill, Mo's immortal power was fully restored.
He woke up feeling stronger than ever. The first thing he asked was about Chaolan. When he learned of her selfless sacrifice, trading her own happiness for his life, he was overwhelmed with gratitude and guilt. He immediately rushed to find her. He caught up with her just as she was preparing to leave. Chaolan explained her plan. During the commotion of their departure, he could follow them and slip through the South Heavenly Gate down to the mortal realm. Working together, Chaolan and Mo combined their powers and managed to create a small crack in the barrier erected by the Emperor. But just as they were about to succeed, Juan saw them. Mistakenly believing that Chaolan was trying to elope with Mo, he became consumed by jealousy and rage. He unleashed the Dragon Clan's forbidden secret technique, a powerful move called Returning to the Origin, to stop them. The blast of energy was immense.
Mo, though weakened, took out his severed dragon horn and pushed it against the crack in the barrier.
The technique hit him full force, and he was gravely injured. He struggled back to his feet, blood trickling from his lips. Chaolan looked at him, her heart breaking, and bid him a tearful, reluctant farewell. Without looking back, Mo plunged through the opening and descended into the mortal realm. Thank you for watching. See you next time.